The World Research Foundation was formed in 1984. The purpose of our organization, which is in the United States a 501c3, which means we're a nonprofit, was to gather information on every form of therapy that we could identify from around the world having to do with all diseases and illnesses. Those therapies would encompass everything from allopathic, standard medicine, to anything that was complementary, alternative, or as I like to say, everything from chemotherapy to cow dung therapy. We don't endorse any particular therapy, but our intent is to let people know every potential option for their particular health problem.
Remember, there is a difference between a critical thinker and someone who simply who is cynical, so to speak, has a bad attitude about everything. Nothing is true. Everybody is evil, etc. We critical thinkers are not cynics, not in any way. We try and we like to think the best about people and about their intentions until they prove to the contrary. So we don't make statements. I certainly don't make statements saying there's no such thing as ESP. There's no such thing as faith healing. There's no such thing as astral traveling, or whatever term you'd like to come up with. I simply say, if you say there is, then we challenge that, and we offer you $1 million prize if you can prove that that is so.
So I penned an article entitled From Deception to Revelation, and I posted it on our website. And later on that afternoon, shortly after posting it, we received by email a series of photographs that had been taken at the Pentagon before the collapse of the outer ring. Now, most people are not aware that the hole that we've all seen, the collapsed area, as if it hinged down from the right side and the left side was wide open and you could see right into the offices. Yeah. That collapse did not occur until almost a half an hour after the event. So the photographs that were sent to us were taken before the collapse. Okay. And upon examining those photographs, we could clearly see that there was a very small hole on the first floor of the Pentagon, no more than, say, 16, at most 20 feet. And what is more curious is that there was no wreckage that was recognizable of a 757 on the front lawn of the Pentagon.
I'm certainly not unique. I was just a desperate addict, and I found salvation there in this monastery. And so I said to myself, well, if I can do it, others can do it. So I'm going to try and spread the word here. And that's all I'm trying to do.
Third largest carbon emitter in the world is Indonesia. And it's not because they have thousands of coal power plants. It's because of the rampant deforestation that continues to go on in that country. Because as they chop down the trees, acres, probably hundreds of acres a day, the carbon that those trees are holding gets released. So deforestation is a huge problem. Brazil is another one of the, I think it's in the top 7 carbon emitters anyway, for the same reason. Not because of their industrial base, but because of the deforestation in the Amazon.
And I think one of the most important parts of our film, as far as I'm concerned, I've done many serious investigations about 9/11, Bush money, everything you'll see in the film. But I think the most important part of the film, I think there's a quick mention of it, so don't miss it, is that he's afraid of horses. Here's a rancher. You'll see him in his golf cart, right?
Uh-huh.
Have you ever seen a rancher, a cowboy in a golf cart? As one rancher said to me, there's reasons why we don't use golf carts to herd cattle. He's afraid of horses. And BBC said, you can't say that George Bush is afraid of horses, because he gives himself that image of a cowboy, right?
Yep.
Said you have to prove it, because otherwise he could sue us, right, for libel. So I was very concerned. So we went through literally hundreds. We literally had a search over tens of thousands of photos of Bush. to see if we can find one picture of him on a horse. This is a rancher who calls himself a cowboy. Right? There is the only picture we have of George Bush on a horse. The horse is dead. It's a stuffed horse behind on a scrim, with a fake background. In other words, the only horse he's ever been on is a stuffed one. He's afraid of horses.
20 years ago, it's almost, you went on the Wogan show.
Yep.
And you basically came out, and this was sort of the start of the ridicule and all that, but it was quite an outing. What I want to speak about is you had, whether you call it a breakthrough, a breakdown, an awakening.
Yeah.
There was a huge shift. Can you speak to me about, and speak to everyone who's listening, what happened?
Well, it's a very long story, and it involves some absolutely extraordinary events that happened to me from the end of 1989.
The irony of the situation is that any politician that you hear talk about reducing the national debt, you automatically know that that person has no idea what the national debt is or its importance to the entire central economy. Because to reduce the amount of national debt would be to reduce the amount of national money. That would be pulling more money out of your checking account. And you certainly couldn't stand that, nor could anyone else in Ireland or in the United States for that matter. You can't reduce the amount of national debt. You have to eliminate it by reforming the system.
Well, Rockefeller decided that he'd had enough of free market competition. And so around the world, he had tried to push the idea of banning alcohol because of its use as a beverage. And what he did is he funded a religious group in the United States called the Women's Christian Temperance Movement, and they took the $4 million that Rockefeller gave them and went and basically bought the votes in Congress to have a prohibition of alcohol enacted. And in the United States, this was remarkable because the bill that was passed was not a simple piece of legislation, but an amendment to our Constitution, which took a 2/3 majority to vote for. So it took quite a long time for us to get that reversed in the United States and be able to use alcohol industrially again, because basically it banned alcohol for all uses, not just drinking. So we couldn't use it in our vehicles either. And that was the whole point of Rockefeller's efforts.